My stepdad passed away suddenly, and he had a will, but it was a blended family. Finding paperwork, finding the documents, even simple things like how much did he owe on his credit card and things like that. That was very difficult and took a lot of work, because of the legal things that were involved. It actually broke up the family. We didn't talk to my stepbrother and that for a long time. Now 10 years.
More than that, I think.
Yeah, maybe even more than that before we were able to get over some of the things that happened because there wasn't a full estate plan about this. An estate plan with my dad's personal wishes on there really would have made a family difference. That I really wanted to make it, if I do kick the bucket, I wanted to make it as smooth as possible for the family after what we'd gone through with my stepdad. I didn't want to leave a mess like that,
My mother, when she died, she had a will, a very basic will, but she'd been in a car wreck that almost killed her here in Fort Collins about 5 years before she actually died. Because of the accident, she got a fairly good settlement, and she wanted to leave, between us three girls, she wanted to leave us most of that money. Having to wait and not knowing we had to sell her house and wanted to get it fixed up for selling before putting it on the market, and we ended up selling it as was pretty much and lost a lot of money because she wouldn't fix it up while she was alive because she wanted to leave the money to us.
Because of not just, I had a will, obviously, being in the military, you always have a will because you never know where you're going to end up or when or how much notice you have before you end up there. So the estate plan, doing more research, the estate plan process seemed to be more what I was looking for than just a will, and then let the state of Colorado figure it out. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make the choices. We wanted to make the choices, not let somebody else make the choices. So we did some more research about listening. After listening and hearing about you guys on the car radio, and Hammond kept coming up consistently as the place, that really do look after you. And I've got to admit, we've been, it's almost 2 years now, and we're happy. We haven't had any problems. We've come for the seminars and things like that. We're just really happy. At that side of the decision process, cost was something I was thinking about, but now we've been through it, and now we're on this side of the process, looking at what that initial upfront cost was versus what we'll be saving from going through the probate process and the time and all of that. It was a good deal.
Well, we'd also come to a free seminar about doing the trust, and I think that's what actually put us over the hill to convince us to get it done. I think in between having the initial wanting to get it done and then having time to think about it, and the closer it got, the more I started having second thoughts and thinking, is this something we really want to do? And I think we talked about it a lot.
Yeah, but I was still convinced it was a good decision.
Oh yeah, I think I did too, but I started thinking, well, what if this? What if that?
I think one of the things that gave me confidence, other than obviously people we met, Chad and Jessica and that, I trusted them. 30 years in the Air Force, you meet so many people. It took me a while when I first joined the Air Force to trust my gut instinct when I met people. That first 30 seconds or 2 minutes really tells you whether you're going to whether you can trust somebody. I've told Patrick the same thing. It's that first couple of minutes of talking to people is when you know whether you're going to trust them or not, or whether they're worth trusting. And I never had an issue here with Jessica, with Chad, with Patrick. I told Patrick that meeting the other people in the practice, where I had a talk with Patrick after he'd done hit one of his fiduciary presentations. That was a couple of 3 weeks ago, and I told him that he was essentially inheriting the trust I already had, in Catherine and Jessica and Chad and those people. He was kind of inheriting that until I got a chance to talk to him for 45 minutes or so, and then okay, he's good too. What I liked more than anything about the estate planning, besides the peace of mind afterwards, having a book this thick with it was the peace of mind that if something did happen to me, a health problem or something like that, I wasn't dropping a mess onto the rest of the family. Our wishes, were what was driving this. It's a legal document, sure, but it's basically the core of that whole legal document is what we want to happen. And I don't think you get that simply with a will that goes out to probate and somebody else is dealing with it. We built this document and we can keep it up to date. When I was sitting thinking about what we're going to talk about today, there are two things that really I think were key in making me confident in the document. One is the 5 wishes document. I'd never seen that before, and it's hard to fill out, but it's a fantastic document, simply because of some of the things it makes you think about. And then the other one was I came and listened to one of the seminars on letters of intent, and I think letters of intent are just a key part of this process. Again, what we want to happen, letters of intent make that happen. And that's part of the estate plan. So it's the idea that it's the peace of mind that you get in knowing that what you want is going to happen. People aren't having to guess or anything. What would they really want? I can tell you.
And also, I think if the executor or who we leave in charge of the carrying out our wishes on the trust, I think the fact that they can call up here and say, I need some help with this, they're going to get it. They aren't going to have to try to find a lawyer or somebody else by themselves. They can call and get the information they need.
And I think that's one of the things that this process, because it is a structured process that you're going through, I think that's one of the things that helps, because it sets up the conversations for you to talk about, and it tells you how to talk to the family about it and everything, because talking about dying is not something that you do while you're having a barbecue or something like that. Oh, by the way, when I die.
One in particular we've told and said that they will definitely get something, and they said, I don't like the idea as to why I'm getting it. But they understand.
Because you've got to talk about difficult things that people normally avoid talking.
And even if you only say it in a joking way, at least it opens the door. Was knowing that you can control, we've said you can control who gets what, but finding out that if there's family members or even people that you think would possibly get something, if you didn't want them to have something, if you just wanted them cut out completely, or make sure that, say, an in-law didn't get the actual blood relative part of the money if they split up, that's peace of mind there, knowing that that part is controlled. They aren't going to get what you don't want them to have.
For me, it was just the whole thinking through what has to happen and then making sure that the wishes came down. And all along, especially with the seminars and things like that, there are little things that come up that stick. One of the pieces that really stuck was that, things like a letter of intent, you can put it on a computer and type it out and it looks all nice and pretty, but it's much more impactful if you write it out by hand. The family is not going to, I think, get in as much of an argument about it because it's in your handwriting and your signature. It's not something that was typed on a computer in your signature. Something that you wrote out by hand, took the time to write it out by hand, makes a much more powerful document than another piece of computer printed paper. It's little things like that that just crop up all the way through that you would never know if you didn't go through this process.